there, comic book friends. I'm Travis, and it's time for Talking Comics. We're going to talk some comics. I have a massive pile of comics, so be prepared, I guess. These are for comics for the week of June 25th, 2025, last week of June. In no particular order, though I will say this is an amazing week of comics, at least for me. Just super enjoyed what I read by and large. Let's talk about it. First up, we have UltraMega issue 9, the final of UltraMega. I really loved this book. It is all about James Herron's art, just how visceral it is, how you can feel every line of action and movement in this book. I will say that there is some nuance to the story, the history of the UltraMegas and whatnot during some of that I need to go back and read it all together. I think to catch all of what was going on beyond just the wild dynamic action of the book, which is the best part of the book in my opinion. But there's a story there, and I want to embrace that story too. So, just really fun. If you like his art style, I certainly do. This is a no-brainer. If you like watching big giant things beat each other up, this is kind of a no-brainer, kind of a deal. The very end of it, there's some parts where our girl changes. I don't know if that's supposed to signify something. Like I said, there's some nuance to the story that I'm not 100% sure of. Curious about this cover. This cover, instead of it being a shiny, glossy something, it is it has texture and fiber to it. Like they didn't add the gloss to it. So I find that interesting, an interesting choice, because I know with Image Comics, everything is about choice, right? I'm just looking for some wild pages here. And of course, it's super thick. This is probably 3 issues of comics, $8. It's basically like buying a trade. I have no idea how much the actual trades for these are. They would definitely be worth getting, just because it is super cool. Dave Stewart doing the colors on it, of course, makes it pretty awesome too. But yeah, just really cool book. Next up, we have Absolute Wonder Woman, issue number 9. This is the second issue of, I'm not sure what they're calling this chapter, but this arc. Kelly Thompson written, Hayden Sherman on art, Jody Belair doing colors. Absolutely love this book. It's amazing right now that we have 2 Wonder Woman books, and I really feel like both of them capture the essence of Wonder Woman. And that excites me a whole bunch. I find it fun that the Absolute Wonder Woman, because she's, straight out of hell, basically, she has nuance, but doesn't seem to care for a lot of it. Either doesn't have time for it or hasn't learned to play, man's game of not necessarily saying what you mean, kind of a thing. She's a woman of action, and stuff. Hayden Sherman's art continues to just be brilliant. Basically, he is going to have set the standard for me for what Wonder Woman should look like. Really interesting story. She's going into the labyrinth because there's supposedly an Amazon in the labyrinth. She's encountered somebody that's not. She's also encountered a Minotaur named Ferdinand. I don't know, Ferdinand seems a little on the nose, but I'm just curious to see where it goes. Just a beautiful book, just a joy to read. Highly recommend Absolute Wonder Woman. It's just a great off to the side story, captures the essence of Wonder Woman, isn't tied into any of the other stuff that is. Hope that continues to be that way. Just curious about these absolute books. They aren't all in the same place, right? That just happens to be, they're called absolute, but they're in a different world, each to their own, right? Superman and Batman, Martian Manhunter are all in the same. It doesn't feel like it. At least from reading the Wonder Woman book and reading the Martian Manhunter book, it doesn't feel like the other stuff is in the same place. And I hope that's accurate. I hope they aren't in the same place. Those of you who read all of them, have you seen something that indicates that they are? I'm not reading the Batman one, but the Batman one really feels like it's not connected to the rest of them too, just from what I've seen other people talking. But I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. Next up, we have Crush Depth. This is issue number 4. I have to say I'm not a fan of the way this issue was plotted. The first couple pages are now, and then the rest of the book is, a little bit earlier. But there's I don't feel like there's a reason to have done that. Lots of times if you have the present and then you flash back to show us where we got to, there's some meaning or significance behind that thing. I don't really feel like there is in this case. You just read it knowing that ultimately, whatever situation our main character seems to be in, it doesn't matter because this is where she's gonna end up at, and nothing extraordinary feels like it happens other than we see like most of the crew is now infected, possessed, whatever you want to call it, that gets her there. I don't know. I just don't. I don't. That was a device that I didn't think was needed. Other than just maybe as I'm reading, go, okay, I'm just waiting to get to this point, and then when do we get to that point, and then have something happen? But we don't. We just get to that point. So I don't know. And maybe if this book came out in a week that didn't have such other exceptional books, maybe I would enjoy it more. But it's been okay. I'm not really excited by the book. Pale Knight, issue number 2. Mad Cave Studios, I believe, if I remember correctly. Getting it, of course, because it's a Peter Milligan written book. I'm still really enjoying it. It's set in the Crusade era as the plague has running across the country, and our Pale Knight is been sent out on a mission to kill another knight, and then his son will be spared the plague, Death says. So there's some of him questioning that. His squire kind of tells him, gives him the lowdown of how good he thinks. He questions his religion. He seems to briefly get it back, but I don't know that lasts very long. I really enjoy the art. The art by Val Rodriguez and Chris Peter doing the colors on it. I like how vague a lot of it is. The backgrounds are stark. I think it lends to the desolate feeling that goes on in the book, in the storytelling. So yeah, a lot of it is just fog and haze and that sort of thing. And I think it matches and bodes well for the type of story that is there. We got some other interesting story bits that are going on with this other knight that's kind of a rival to our Pale Knight, and the Jewish man that he has captured, thinking that he is a sorcerer, and the Jewish man is just making stuff up as he goes along to keep himself alive. The worse it stinks, the worse it tastes, the more it must be like magic, kind of a deal, which I find fun also. So curious to see where it all plays out with our Pale Knight's quandrum, because the person he is supposed to quash, he is now finding out, seems to be like a pretty saintly person, somebody who puts his people in his little part of the fiefdom before himself. And so it sounds like he's going to be putting down a good man. So curious to see how that plays out. The Flash, issue number 22. There it says part 3 of the Bad Moon Rising. I really like this story. I like it quite a bit. It's interesting. The family dynamics and the Flash's kids' powers are all really interesting. There's some time traveling majigmer stuff going on, and I finding that interesting. As I continue to talk about with this, I think the seriousness and heaviness of the story gets watered down by the art. That continues to be my complaint with the book, but smartly written enough that I continue to pick it up, despite the feeling that the art is tone deaf in comparison to the story that's being told. There's a war going on, and Barry has figured out a way to split himself up, and lots of pieces of him just get annihilated, get killed. Seemingly has no effect on him. They just get recycled back into whatever, and he produces more of them for this giant war that's going on. That people kind of keep going, look, war is not your thing. Why are you doing this? But he feels like that's his only. He's kind of stuck in that feeling like that's his only way to deal with the situation that's going on the moon. That could affect all of creation, and basically set the moon to create a permanent eclipse over the Earth, because of course it's Eclipso that's running the whole thing. So really interesting stuff. Characters I really like. Intrigued by all that, and once again, like I said, continues to be not as good as it could be because of the art. The art is seemingly light, seemingly jovial, and bright, and that's not the story that's here. It worked when the family first went camping because it was kind of a goofy, light kind of a deal, but it is quickly spun out of that, and it just feels like there should be somebody else doing this. This artist is great. This artist would be great. There's a ton of superhero books this artist would probably be great on and whatnot. But like I said, with the heavy of the story, I feel like it needs to be somebody else. And I've beat that conversation to death now, right? Let's move on to the Seasons, issue number 5. The carnival is here. The mirrors are starting to take effect. Spring is really struggling. She's the only person that seems right now that sees it all and hasn't been affected in one way. She can't get through to her sister Winter, who is pretty self-obsessed with the idea that Spring has basically wrecked her life. She's been saddled with having to take care of this kid. And so she's not seeing what's going on. Summer's already been messed up. Autumn clearly has already been messed up. We find the parents, maybe? Or is this all part of the craziness of the carnival? Not 100% sure. Also in this issue, we see Gilbert talk. Up at this point, we have not seen Gilbert talk. It has been a one-way conversation. Now we're seeing Gilbert talk. So I don't know if that's still part of the carnival stuff, because it's all happening once she's kind of in the tent that is growing across the city, and craziness is ensuing as far as that goes. Really lovely book. Great art by Paul Azteca. I'm not going to get too close to this camera because it messes things up. But still, just a really great book. Enjoying it quite a bit. I have been kind of saying this doesn't feel like a normal Rick Remender book. This issue had more elements that fall under Remender's go-to stuff. That's not a bad thing for me. I read all of Rick's stuff by and large because I enjoy the ideas and stories that he comes up with and whatnot. But still, just love this art style with great colors by Mateus Lopes. But yeah, some interesting stuff happens in it, you know. So I'm just looking forward to where we go from here. Because it's looking rough for Spring right now. She went down the drain. She literally went down the drain. So we'll see what is next for that. Another book I just absolutely love. We're taking everyone down with us. Issue number 4. just love these characters. So much. Some more wild stuff happens in this. Our daughter of would be super villainish person, her lack of exposure to stuff and her wanting that exposure is really interesting. We get to meet her mother. That's intriguing out of this whole thing. Rook, our super spy Rook, continues to pursue and continues to be the dirtbag that he was introduced to us as. Just love everything about this book, the conversations, the look of it, the kind of play on the genre, just really, really digging it all the way along. It's just really been a fun read, interesting. This supervillain group, them going over their own bylaws to figure out can they do anything about the fact that one of them has just killed another one of them, and the bylaws kind of make it sound like that they can't because they need all the votes to change the bylaws so they can go after somebody who's done something, and yeah, and they're having that conversation in a movie theater because they need to find a safe place, and they decide that's the safe place. We get a little bit of backstory from 2 days ago in this issue that starts out with kind of the conversation between Rook and Dad to see what happened there, to get a better idea of what happened there. So, yeah, just really, really cool. Have no idea where this book's going to go, how long it's got a list to go. It feels like this could be a really long story. The daughter is really obsessed with vengeance. She feels that that's what she should do, and that's all she wants to do. Does not want to be directed in any other direction. Our robot man, his clear objective is to keep her safe. That's his objectives. Now, is he Robot Man, or is he the brain of Dad inside that? Not 100% sure, or just part of the personality is. He's been severely damaged at this point, has gone to meet the mom, and the mom's got her own ideas of exactly how things should go. So, very much looking forward already to the next issue. Excited for that. This is written by half of the creators of What's the Furthest Place from Here? This is Rosenberg. The next issue we're going to talk about, Tyler Boss writes this. Tyler Boss is also the one that does the art from What's the Furthest Place from Here. Every issue of this I enjoy quite a bit more. The first issue I was like, okay, this is cool. This to some degree feels like a Twilight story that I've seen before. Writer writes something and it's real in some sense. It's gotten way more interesting, way more invested in the characters, which is how it should be. I think. I mean, there's something to be said for having your first issue just blow everybody away and immediately grab you, whatever. But I also enjoy reading a book that as I go along, everything develops and makes me invested in the people that are going on it. And I'm really curious, and invested in where we're going with these characters. The kill in this one is pretty brutal. The dog, if you've read it, you know. If you haven't, you should read it, but it's creepy. I really dug it. Curious to see what happens with our dominatrix friend who has volunteered, hey, write your next murder thing that's going to happen about me, because then we're in control of what's going on. Write it about me. The writer's like, yeah, I don't know that I want to do that, but he must have. It seems like, because stuff's happening. Yeah, really digging it. Enjoy the art by Tertuluzzi, Italian, I think. Yeah, just it's been cool. Like I said, and every issue gets stronger than the last issue as far as, you know, what's going on. Our detectives are starting to do their police work. They were the ones that were on the original murder that our writer person solved. And now they're starting to wonder if really he's a suspect, not a hero. Or, so that's been intriguing. See their part of that thing too. So cool stuff. Green Arrow. This is issue number 25. Starting of a new arc. We get a little bit of Arsenal and Green Arrow out saving the day on patrol. Get the old the memories of when it was Speedy and Green Arrow. We see Ollie kind of on his high horse here. Maybe he's a little heavy-handed with the calling everybody out for being, part of the 1% or whatever it is. But maybe not. Maybe that's not tone deaf. Certainly not tone deaf, but maybe it's not over the top, all things considered. Comics tend to be a view at pop culture and about society, that what's going on in society at the moment. So maybe this is addressing that appropriately, yelling and screaming in the face of those that have everything. So yeah, still really enjoying the book. Same creators on it, Condit writing it, Montos doing the art, Lucas on colors. Yeah, we'll see where this issue goes. Looks like there's a new archer in town. Has taken out Arsenal. We'll see what happens next. Just, a general fun superhero book. Like I said, it's one of those books I am enjoying. Man, it comes out in a week with some exceptional books. So, I have to view this as the genre that it is. And I enjoy superheroes. So it's fun. Another superhero book I am actually really enjoying too. Mr. Terrific Year 1. Wasn't sure I was going to think of this. This is issue number 2. It's got the Spectre in it. That's interesting. Like I said, I have no idea what Mr. Terrific's real origin story was, how much was fleshed out, how much wasn't. I mean, he's like the third smartest guy, and was, I think, in the Olympics. Like him, he's in the Olympics. Jeff was in the Olympics. That is Black Lightning, and yeah, so they connect them all in this, since I don't know if they were actually all connected prior to this. I like them being connected in this. That's interesting. In this, Black Lightning is already part of the League. They buried their friend. But anyway, the Spectre's in this. Mr. Terrific's getting ready to pitch himself off a bridge because he's done with it all. And the Spectre comes and plays the spirit of Christmas, past, present, and future. Well, not future so much. But interesting. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed where it kind of pushes us to, and I'm curious to see now what we're going to get into as he's starting to embrace the idea of being the new Mr. Terrific. And how is that going to play out with the people who buy his company and are poisoning, basically the poor part of his hometown with technology that basically him and his deceased wife created. So all kind of cool stuff. And really like the changes in art. The first part is the current Mr. Terrific going back to his hometown because there's something going on. There's some sort of an energy leak happening in the area of this, where this original, where the rest of the story takes place. It's high gloss, fancy. It's more like the Flash artwork. It's just really brilliant, bright superhero work. And then we go back to the back stuff. Different artists on it. The ink lines are heavier. It's thicker. It's more noir-ish as far as it goes, though not like in dark toned colors. I mean, it still has brighter, superhero type colors and whatnot, but still has a heavier feel to it, which is good. Visual storytelling break between the two parts of the story. Oh boy. So Here we are, Assorted Chrysler Events, issue number 4. I am not somebody who typically goes, hey, comic of the year, because I have a hard time. I can name comics I liked that I've read this year, but to try and name the comic of the year or whatever, I'm terrible at trying to do that. I don't judge things in those kinds of categories and thoughts, but I would certainly do that with this issue. An amazing issue. Just excellent. So, Assorted Crisis Events is an anthology book written and drawn, colored, lettered, all by the same people. Each issue, the trappings are there's some sort of a time thing going on, which and dimensional slips on Earth. So you have the ability to tell kinds of kooky stories, things along the lines of Outer Limits or Twilight Zone or that sort of thing if they wanted to. Time messes with people in this. You can run into dinosaurs around one corner, knights around another corner, and space frame people around another corner. All have the ability to happen within this comic. But it's more like it's kind of like Ice Cream Man, in that by the majority, most of the Ice Cream Man stories are telling their own story. They're making their own point for that issue or couple issues. And it has the trappings of being set in one reality. You have the Holt stuff and whatnot. This is the same way. You'll see there's a man that has a backpack or a laser pack on his back. He has goggles, old man, big white beard. He's in every single issue, just kind of drifting through, basically saying, hey, something's not right. The end is nigh, that sort of thing. So that's the trappings of all of it. This issue in particular, maybe it hits hard for me because I'm an old guy. But this is about a guy who basically the first couple panels, he's a teen, a college student, an adult, like in the first page. It's just him. Time happens, and it happens faster. About the time he realizes, hey, I need to do something, it's already passed and he's on to the next thing. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to be late for my graduation. And by the time he gets to where his graduation would be, he's actually in a suit and has a suitcase and he's late for his first day at work, doing work he doesn't know what it is. Now he's 10 years into the work he doesn't know what it is. And he's going to be, late getting home for whatever, going on a date. I don't necessarily like this person, but by the third date, she's been pregnant for 9 months, and just how time gets away from us and goes by. And it references in here, the older you get, the more, the faster it all goes by and whatnot. But the art is amazing. The storytelling is just really cool. That white panel up there as he's moving in, up in this corner, just really drew my eye. But it just all happens fast, this story, and it just feels like it's a story about how time just whips by. And then ends in a way that I think is great. It ends with one of his kids that he is disconnected from. See, there's our guy. There's our character that's in every issue, just to kind of tie it all in as much as it needs to be tied in or not be tied in. I don't know. I just that's one of those, you got to read it to begin to understand it. It just it's just amazing, an amazing sort of a thing. Just really, really, really enjoyed it. The comics tend to be these kind of 3-tone colors or so, which is another thing by and large. But then there are times when it's colored like a normal comic. But it just really, I don't know, it just really spoke to me, kind of a deal. And I am really, really excited. The books are all good. There hasn't been a bad issue amongst them. But this one just really hit hard and good. It's just really exciting to see something like this done with comics, with telling a much heavier, a much introspective kind of a story of just kind of how life happens sometimes. Even the cover's smart. There, it's got him like the current him. He's smoking, and when the smoke is burrowing over him, it's him old and in his final years, uh, kind of a deal. Just really, really smart and cool comic. Written by Dennis Camp. Camp writes a couple books right now. I'm at the point where if Camp is writing it, I'm going to pick it up and check it out for sure. 20th Century Man, I thought there was something special going on there. This seals the deal. This and Martian Man, Absolute Martian Manhunter, kind of seal the deal on him as a writer. Excellent artist, man, just super strong. Zawadsky, and of course Jody Blair on colors. Just super smart stuff there. Oh, and the final issue of When I Lay My Vengeance Upon Thee. We get to kind of see finally the sinister thing behind this. What our older exorcist has been keeping secret. The ultimate threat that's there, and a pretty cool horror type ending where probably nothing's solved and it could be way worse. Just really love the art. What you see on the covers, what you get inside. They're caricatures, but they work really well for what's here. Just very much enjoyed this as far as a possession and the people trying to fight the possession type of a story. There's some good head trips in this issue, and a satisfying ending, I thought, for this book. So really enjoyed it. If you like Exorcist type stories and whatnot, I would definitely recommend the book. It was a good read with some cool stuff going on in it. The Department of Truth, issue number 31. So after we got some of the super heavy stuff that went on the last issue with Oswald and the implication of what's going to go on, the fight with the Black Hats, and all of that stuff going on there, then we kind of shift gears again. We shift gears away from that urgency that was going on there to a case. With a woman has seen something that's come from the internet. That's where the new boogeyman's coming from, the Hat Man, and what is that going to entail? We're going to find out in this. This has got a guest artist in it, and I do not know the person's name. Kadoniki? Don't know. So it looks closer. The art looks closer to like the artist from Something's Killing the Children. Is more kind of the look of it. But man, it's not that artist, but it's close to that style. But yeah, we'll see what's going on. I don't know. Interestingly, I don't know if this is like set in the past or whatever. Hawk is in this one working with Ruby, and I didn't know that was necessarily a thing, that they were actually working together. I know that Ruby and Cole have decided they're going to try and influence the Department of Truth and influence this whole thing to try and get some level of control so it's not spinning off in this other direction, and maybe the Black Hats don't have total control over it, but it has to do with internet memes and stuff like that. So I'm not sure on that aspect of it. What's going on? Great Department of Truth file back here about the craziness of how QAnon rumors spiral out of control and whatnot, and about how the whole Wayfarer had some commercial cabinets that they sold, and they sold them And they gave all the cabinets girls' names, and somebody took that and ran with that. That really what they were doing is they were putting children inside the cabinets. So when you order the cabinets for these crazy amounts of money, tens of thousands of dollars for these cabinets, they thought that was just way too much money for it just to be cabinets, especially versus the standard person's cabinets that weren't that kind of money. That clearly they must be secretly selling children through the cabinetry. Wild read in the back of that. Department of Truth continues to be a cool idea. I still haven't cooled down from the last issue of the Department of Truth, but this moves us back into the more kind of, let's just look at some of the fiction that is in America and how are they dealing with it, kind of thing. Oh, another just excellent book. Oh, Absolute Martian Manhunter, issue number 4. Camp writes a really good book. He writes a really good line. There are some just excellent descriptions of stuff in this issue that is just amazing. But what makes it more amazing, what elevates this book to like peak, of course, is Javier Rodriguez's art. This issue, it's all about the sun. Our Martian is telling us that the white Martian is controlling the sun. It's putting on these beams. The opening page in this thing is just so cool. We're going to crack it open so you can look at the art, at least look at that opening page. Here's this opening page. There's the sun. The sun is beating down, cooking these people. Colored, one hot, one cold. They smash each other and it starts this massive brawl. The heat goes on at 110 degrees for weeks on end. It's driving people to all kinds of insanity that John and the Martian are trying to tackle. They're dealing with the symptoms because they can't deal with the source right now. It continues to there continues to be a stress between John and his wife, which comes to a header in this issue. And while that is happening, we get these wonderful explosions that are going on that are just as she's unleashing bombs on him. While also someplace else, there are people blowing up power sources to put them in the dark. There's just while this whole argument's going on, there's also this wonderful, the Martian is tangling with the sun, and the way he's tangling with the sun, he's actually like shows him physically breaking off sun rays while it's happening. There's just really good dialogue between John and his wife. Just trying to see if I can find where it shows him snapping the. Pretty sure I didn't hallucinate that. I'm not seeing it offhand though, so maybe I made that part up. I don't think I did though. But it's just really, 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 really cool. It's just so well done. It's just amazing. The fact that this got moved to 12 issues instead of 6. I mean, to think that this would have been over within 2 issues is a crime. This should just go on like forever. I don't know. It's super special. It is peak comics. And the fact that it's in a DC superhero comic is pretty wild. Just really, 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 really good stuff. If you don't like it for some reason, please let me know, because I would love to know why. Is it you just don't care for Javier Rodriguez's art? I guess there's a possibility of somebody not liking that. I just have a hard time wrapping my head around it, because I just think it's so amazing. Next up, we have Out of Alcatraz, issue number 4. Christopher Cantwell written, Tyler Crook doing all the painting, all the art. This continues to be a really interesting and really good book that you just never quite sure where they're going. We get some good conversation about freedom. What does freedom mean? Escaping your current conditions. There's 2 different stories going on. There's a story of this group here. 3, I guess. This group here are 2 agents, I guess, for lack of what to call them. One used to be in the Marshals, one's in the FBI. They are in love with each other, these two men, trying to figure out, there's a conversation between them about being free or not. I mean, it's the 60s, queer people, you didn't just live out and open, especially two guys working for agencies and stuff. Some conversations about their freedom that continues in this, which I quite enjoy, were really interesting. And then it all gets messed up by the third story here with the one escapee from Alcatraz that got left behind, who clearly really is a bad dude. These two guys have clearly committed crimes. They are not necessarily good people, but they aren't like evil people either. This third guy is a psychopath. He's murdering everywhere he goes. And he has just encountered the rest of them. So we'll see how his introduction into the group dynamic really throws things. Because it kind of felt like as a group, they had almost decided that they thought they had a plan that was going to satisfy all of them, to some degree. And that is now completely been tipped on its head. So we'll see how this plays out from here. Just been a really good story, really enjoyable by those creators from Moni Press. Next up, we have news from the Fallout, issue number 1. A Chris Condit, the same guy who wrote Green Arrow on this book, and Jeffrey Allen Love. Really kind of dug this issue. So this is back in the day. They're doing some nuclear testing. And they're, of course, putting some GIs within not the immediate blast radius, but close enough for things to be dangerous. And we have a general that's kind of doing this stuff on his own. He is obsessed with the black rock that he has, and something coming or whatever. So we get this blast happen. We get a private who is the entire time going, I think we're too close. I don't think this is good. And then him getting chewed on because he's not following orders and he's back talking and all that. The bomb goes plooey, and then we get some version of possibly zombies or that sort of thing that our one private is now running from. What's great is not a ton of words in this book. It's mostly just the art. The art kind of reminds me of some Ben Templesmith in some ways. The thing is all basically black and white. It's like Templesmith in some ways, and was it Scandinavian? I can't remember his name. Looks kind of like also. But you start getting to this part where the action happens, and then it's just not words, just some sound effects and these crazy silhouettes, and this guy escaping off the base, and then he gets to a diner, and then at the diner he's like, oh, we need to do some stuff. The only reason I really mentioned the diner is because here's the menu for the diner, great prices and everything. And down there at the bottom is a phone number I have yet to call. It looks like a valid phone number. Does anybody ever call? If you see a phone number in a comic book and it's not clearly a some number that doesn't exist, do you try calling it? I haven't called this one yet. I think I'm going to, but I'm always paranoid that then somebody's gonna have my phone number and then I'm gonna get called by by annoying people that I want to be called by. But yeah. Anybody else reading this? You read it? Did you call the phone number, or do you even notice it? It's just me that notices that stuff. I dug the first issue. It was visceral feeling, and so I'll give it a roll for a while to see where it goes. I liked the action shots, the lack of words when we get into that second half of it, where it's just this race, and now they're in this diner, they have to board up, so it's potentially gonna have a Night of the Living Dead feel to it. But we'll see. What does the general have to do with it? What does the Rock have to do with it? It just feels like a tale spun out of the scare of what nuclear power or nuclear war or whatever could do to us. Pretty cool. Oh, and finally, the last issue, and Lazarus is back. Lazarus Fallen. There's 20 issues that are going to come out to end this whole thing. Have all kinds of crazy mixed feelings about reading this book. Love the characters that are in it. They're all really interesting. Even the heads of the families are interesting. The depressing aspects of the book is that, we're set in a world where the oligarchs control everything. There's like 6 or 10 families that are just super, super mega bajillionaires that control everything. There aren't governments anymore. They've bought everything. Sounds familiar? Just that whole aspect of it is so close to home in so many ways. I don't know if I've talked about it before, but when Lazarus was first coming out, the picture was painted of the place. Greg Rucka, the writer, was at a con, and I love talking to Greg. Greg's super smart guy, and just a good person and great to talk to and whatnot. If you get a chance to catch him at one of those cons or whatever, I was having him signing the book. I'm wearing a Dagger t-shirt from the thing and whatnot. Clearly, I'm a huge fan. I go, it's really not going to be this bad. Really. I mean, you've overstepped it away, so it's not really that bad. And the look he gave me was really interesting. I was there with my oldest kid. Look he gave me, he just kind of paused, and then he went, "I hope you're right. I hope you're right. I don't think you are, but I hope you're right." And that has stuck with me because he's way closer than I am on how it's all going. So, but really good book. We jump almost a year and a half, 2 years into where the last stories took off from, as Forever and Infinity escape the Carlisle family, and we're going to get to see what comes next. What's amazing is there is characters who pop up in this that you would have thought were gone at like issue 22, and I have no idea what this issue, this says issue number 1. I have no idea what issue this would be if you were just listing this stuff all together. But like I said, 20 more issues is what they've said. Supposedly they're on track. They've got enough issues done out enough in advance that between that and the breaks they typically take for when the trades come out, the book should be relatively consistent. But we also know how reality is, and that could mess with it. I don't care. This is a book I can wait however long I need to wait because I don't know what the gap between it was. I still want to read this stuff and know what's going on. So much appreciated from Rudka Lark for doing this book and sticking with it and whatnot. And they thank all of us in the back, especially if you're the unicorn. I guess I'm a unicorn. If you've been reading this in singles all the way along as it's come out, they really thank you because that's part of what keeps it all going. So yeah, that's it for this week. Amazing week of books. Looks like my books continue to be on schedule to not be here for the weekend when it's easy for me to do hey, here's my new comic books. But still gets it here during the week, so I have time to read it throughout the week, so then I can come and sit down and talk comics on Sunday with you all. Yeah, have a great one, everybody, and I'll hopefully catch you next week.